Hello, designers. This is Rebecca, and this is your assignment 2, Making the Band Critique. This is part 1, so I'll go over half of your submissions in this video and the other half in a second part. Before we start, let's go ahead and check out the requirements for this assignment. You were to present brand banding components that you have collected and created thus far. So that includes creating some brainstorming and mind mapping, as well as 2 personas, one for a fan and one for a musician. You were to create a mood board for your branding and create a logo and a standard sheet, as well as present some images from a photo shoot, either that you shot yourself or that you found via stock imagery or that you created using AI. All right, and then you were to uh, give them all to me in a little slideshow with all of these slides filled out. All right, let's get into it. First up is Renata. Fun so far, really fun branding on this slideshow. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, if a slide is very text heavy, whether it's your personas, your reflections, your mind mapping, etc., I'm just going to skip past them for the presentation time limit, but I just know that I have read everything completely. Okay, thank you. So on this brainstorm, this is a great start. I'd like to see the actual sheets though that you created. For this mind map, we could definitely go deeper than how far you went here. There's room for lots and lots of more digging and digging. This is a good list though so far. Very nice. Make sure to check your capitalization on your song titles, okay? When you place them into your album cover and your lyric sheets. All right, great little persona here. It's really nice if for your final presentation, if you could kind of break this up into different categories. If you go ahead and check out some of your peers' layouts for their personas, then you'll see what I mean, as opposed to just writing one paragraph, all right? And if you were to dig deeper on those mind maps, you would have even more insight into these characters that you're creating. So same thing goes for these mind maps. They could definitely dig deeper. You could spend more time on them when you are going through this process by allowing yourself more time and to really stretch deeper. You're literally training the neural pathways in your head to go in new directions that really unleash your creativity. So don't rush this part. Go ahead and just give yourself the gift of expanding the time that you brainstorm. Okay. Great. Thank you. This looks great. Great photo. Same goes for this one. When you create your new layout for the other persona, apply that layout to this one as well. And here's our mood board. There's some really fun things on here. Great color palette options. But what I'm not seeing is any actual posters or album covers from the 60s. So these are all things that were made more currently that were inspired by psychedelic art. I need you to actually get real 60s psychedelic art and not stuff that's only inspired by it. While these are really nice examples and very cool and very well done, I see that you're really gravitating towards symmetrical layouts, which is totally awesome. I just want you to be influenced by the authentic thing and not by a current clean vector version. All right. And here is our band logo. And it turned out pretty nice. I see that it's also symmetrical. I think you picked some great fonts for the genre. It's fun how the word dream is, the baseline is kind of jiggled up there. And the only thing is that you misspelled stars. It says strars. So you got to go back and fix that. You could also, while you're in there, if you wanted to drop some of this green in other places, you could put a stroke around stars or a drop shadow underneath it. And then you could also outline the dream part like this, so that each of the letters is outlined, and then have those this stretchy dimensional illusion go back from that outline. So it'll just take it to the next level of psychedelia, and it'll look a little bit less vector drawn and more kind of hand-drawn and illustrative that way. Okay. We have a lot of colors too that we're working with here, and I think that's okay. Um, just notice like right here, this could just be my screen, but it doesn't look like this line is coming directly off the point of the star. And I just don't think you need an extra color of blue here. I think you need to narrow your palette down for the logo. Maybe just work with 5 colors total, um, and then think of different ways to distribute those colors to make it so that you only have that amount. Okay. Hmm, great. All right. Hold on, one more thing. I'm seeing, would you consider maybe rounding the star's edges a little bit because you have so much roundness going on everywhere else, that when we get down here to these very pointy things, it's just not quite melding. You know, this is looking more digitally manufactured, where this is looking more organic. And while it's okay to have some contrasting elements in a logo, I think that that would actually help make it more cohesive by rounding out the corners. But just play with it. If you don't like the way it looks, then you don't have to implement them. Great. So here's our color palette. And it's good. I think it's a great psychedelic color palette. I think it's working great. I notice there's no black in this color palette, and that's okay with me. I love the challenge of not having any black in the color palette. If you did want a super dark color for text, then consider making a super, super dark blue because you already have this pretty dark purple there. And I don't think you need to go darker in this little family, but the blue you might be able to make a darker shade that would be close to black without actually having black. And then I think these fonts are very fun. I think you do need a third font for text, meaning your body copy, like your paragraph text that you'll be using in your lyrics sheet, and for smaller kind of copy, maybe on a poster, that kind of stuff. So give yourself another look for some one more font that's going to look good when it's small and in paragraph form. Okay, that will complement these. So it might not be a psychedelic font. It could be a sans serif font, or even a serif font could work too. So just a heads up, like it doesn't have to be anything trippy. Oops, sorry, I want it back. You got fantastic results here. This is wonderful generation. I love it so much. They are very 60s, very cute. All this paisley and stuff is just, yeah, really nice. I love her big bouffant hair, and this girl's little bob is really nice. This is really cute. I love everything. It's really nice. Really good. Really nice. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I see things I like. So awesome work. Oh, the drummer's hair is wonderful. I love it. Really cute. They're kind of like pussycat dolls, but like mixed with Jefferson Starship, and I think it's awesome. Love it. Excuse me, not pussycat dolls. Josie and the Pussycats. I got my cats mixed up. Okay, great. So I'm so happy that you enjoyed the research part of this, and creating, envisioning the brand. Um, you mentioned some constraints, and I just want you to know that that's graphic design. Like you hardly ever have full creative freedom. Um, there's going to be predetermined restraints in most projects that are given to you from clients, whether they already have logos and branding established and they just need you to make this one thing that falls in those parameters, or if they don't have the branding yet, they definitely have ideas of what they want for their branding, that is going to limit what you do, as well as there's going to be limits from the clients of those, I'm sorry, not of the customers of your clients, right? Like you have to design for their target audience, and that's going to set parameters of your creative freedom. So yeah, but I think it's good for you to have to step out of you know your comfort zone and like what you're used to doing in other classes. That's why I make these themes for my courses, is to incorporate some design art history and learn about that, plus to learn how to replicate technically in the Adobe software and things like that, um, specific styles, because that's something that you really will set you apart from other designers in the field, like having these skills under your belt. So, and hopefully it'll even open up your styles even more. Like you'll get influenced and there'll be things that come into your own personal style as it's still developing that will never leave. You know what I mean? So yeah, I hope that that makes sense. Great work. Thank you. Next up is Brianne. Okay, there we go. All right, so here's wonderful brainstorming. Yes, I see the like frenzy of thoughts in your handwriting and I love it. It's really great. Awesome mind map. Yes, this is nice and deep. I can see you spent some good time on there thinking about these things and good job on your list. Everything looks like it's spelled correctly and looks all good to go. Good job on these lists as well. Nicely thought out. Really good. Really good. And here's our personas. I love the layout. Great photo too. Got a nice result there. Really good. I see a little orphan right here, so just drop the word and down to the next line to fix that. Excellent work. This looks so good. Thank you. This is great. Wendy's is also an orphan. There's an apostrophe in Wendy's. So just drop the word in down on the line next to Wendy's, okay? And here is a fantastic mood board. Really good. So I see that you have some of your band elements in there, and that's cool. You have super fun color palette, lots of fonts to choose from. You may want to, well, I guess it's a mood board. Never mind. I'm good. What I'm mostly happy to see is actual authentic 80s covers, posters, design elements. Thank you so much. 80s typography. Very, very good. I like to see that MTV logo in there. It's perfect. Good job. And here's our final logo. Yeah, it turned out great. Really good. I'm just looking here at your kerning a little bit. Okay, what I'd like you to do, I think it is right on, but my eyes are playing tricks on me a little bit from the monitor, maybe. So in Illustrator, they have a measurement tool that you can try to use to determine the width between your characters here. If the measurement tool isn't working for you or you're just not feeling good about using it for this, then you can, what we used to do back in the day is draw a tiny little circle between the letters that you like the spacing, like that you want them to all be, and then use that circle, move it around, and place it between other elements, and just make sure that both of those elements are touching both edges of the circle. And then you could take that and put it between here. You could take that and put it somewhere right around here where these 2 points kind of meet. This is looking visually like, I mean, it's looking like it's correct kerning technically, but when you squint your eyes, visually it looks like there is a bit more of a gap. So you may need to move that A over to the left a little bit. And then this, I think this is a little bit wider than this right here. So just do that thing with the circle and play with it and see. And then once you get it that circle is correct everywhere, squint your eyes and notice if there's any places that look like they're closer together versus further apart, and then you can just nudge each letter um, using the type tool to get them all to be exactly perfectly clean visually kerning. Okay. The only other thing too is I don't really remember why the L is like coming out like this. I feel like you explained it, but I can't remember. I'm wondering if it's a reference to heavy metal or if it's supposed to replicate a thorn. If it's supposed to replicate a thorn, then what I recommend doing is giving it more of a curve and not going out quite so far. You know what I mean? and it could even curve down a little bit to be more of like a cat's claw kind of shape, like a thorn is, you know? Um, and then, yeah, I think that will make it look thornier. All right, great. Next, the rose looks very nice. It turned out really good. And I like the alignment of the whole thing. It's really pretty. Okay. I mean, not pretty, but the gestalt is really good. So, um, we have some interesting textures here. I see like a lot of kind of stippling and kind of graininess there. I like these drop shadows of like neon colors in the background. These are really fun. Um, yeah, that feels very 80s to me, and I like that a lot. I really think you need to narrow down your fonts. I wasn't expecting you to bring all those in from the mood board, so I think three at the most is all you need to help keep your branding consistent. And the color palette's good. I don't know why you need the gray. So unless you were trying to create like a metal texture, I don't think this would be it. I think it'd be more of a gradient, a silver gradient or something, or chrome gradient. So just, yeah, I think that gray is not doing much, taking away from the vibrance of the other stuff. All right, and then you got some really great results here. Really cool. This one is this is giving me like Gem and the Holograms, which I really love, like the Misfits from Gem and the Holograms. Um, yeah, I love all these band members. They're so fun. This is really great. Excellent. Excellent. All right. I'm so glad to hear that you had fun designing everything. And I think it really shows that you had a lot of fun. So that is just really exciting. And then um, I think that the song titles you picked were absolutely perfect. The fonts, like I can see that you had a hard time kind of editing down. Actually, you probably did edit down. You probably had a lot more in mind too. So if you want to use, and I do understand, like there's so many fonts across all the different little subgenres of new wave, and it is hard to choose choose between them. So like Blondie has a logo that's very kind of script heavy and expressive, like you said. So you could use that very successfully for titles and headers. And then the more clean serif fonts, or I'm sorry, sans serif fonts like Futura and Gil Sans, I think you said. I'm looking for it in here. There it is. Yeah, Gil Sans. That can be your body copy because that's nice and legible for small text when it comes to smaller information on posters or your lyrics sheet, that kind of thing. So I think that the two together is always a beautiful combination, like a big stylistic display font or something along those lines for your headers, and then small, clean serif font to make readability as easy and smooth as possible for smaller blocks of text. So I think you got some good choices there. And then you did a great job picking out little shapes and textures too. So it's all gonna just come together so beautifully in your album cover and all your posters and um, merchandising and marketing materials. So great work. Thank you so much. Next up is Day. All right, so here's Day's brainstorming. Good start, good start. I think you could have gone a little longer, a little further on this, dug a little bit deeper for that first initial dump, like brain dump. But the list of songs came out great, and everything looks like it's spelled correctly, and the punctuation's good to go. So excellent work there. Great names as well. Same with this mind map. I think you could dig even deeper, like giving yourself just another 5 minutes to, you know, just go on a little bit longer and really let those neural pathways open up your creativity. And then, so this is your first persona. Let me just check. Yeah. So with the persona, while there is really good info in here, I'd like you to format it a little bit differently. So it's almost like a resume. You're just kind of blocking information with headers and stuff. So this is going to give you a chance to show off some of your layout chops, as well as just have some fun with formatting and almost beginnings part of your branding a little bit. So in your final presentation for the course, just look at how some of your other classmates laid out their personas and pick some elements that you like and apply it to yours. And same with this one, whatever direction you go with the other one, apply it to this one too. And then here's our mood board. Um, this is a good start to a mood board. I think you could double the amount of imagery that you have on here. The color palette's very fun, and I'm so happy to see authentic 80s stuff on here. So that is really good. I don't really see anything where you're pulling from stuff that was made today that was inspired by the 80s. So really, really nice. And then here is our logo. Very simple, very new wave for sure. I'm just, hold on. Okay. So I just wanted to see like how that icon works with the letter, with the name, um, and if you are incorporating them at all together. Um, so the icon is very rough as far as like line work goes. It doesn't look like an actual tree. Not that it has to, but I'm just wondering if you should kind of trace a real picture of a tree and then make it a little more stylized if you still want to after that. Only because the weight of this tree and of this dark, heavy shape is not necessarily complementing the thinness of these lines in the letters here. You know what I mean? So while you can have a silhouette, I think that instead of having these big chunks here, your silhouette could have some more detail that could mimic at least some parts of it, some of the lines within it, the same width as the lines in your letters there, and then they will feel a little bit more married and like they were meant to work together. Um, so yeah, I think you just need to revisit that tree a little bit more and make it less kind of gestural and more real. And if you don't agree with me, it's totally no problem. Like no offense taken. I totally it's your thing ultimately, and it's your vision. So um, Godspeed. All right. Then with the guidelines though, I think that the color palette is great. I love it. You may be able to find a little punchier orange to really feed off of the punchiness of these two colors. Right now it's kind of muted. And I think that you can crank it a little, I don't know if it's a little redder or a little more pink or something to make it, it doesn't have to be neon by any means, but it needs to uh, stand its ground next to this magenta. All right. Then I love the Jost typeface a lot. It's one of my favorite sans serif fonts. I think it's wonderful. And then I'm just, I don't think, I think you need a second font. So you may consider pairing this font with a really nice thin slab serif. So one of my favorite slab serifs that I think would complement this really beautifully is called Josephine uh, slab. And here you can see it on the fonts.adobe.com site. One of the reasons I think that is because they have a beautifully descending capital J as one of the glyphs, and they have all these different options when you are picking a a body font family. You want to make sure that that font family has at least a regular font, an italic font, and a bold font, but it's also nice if it also has a thin option, maybe a condensed option, maybe a semi-bold, a black option, all these, things. And Josephine font has almost all of those. It's a really wonderful um, font to use for chunks of like paragraph text, which you will have in your lyric sheet as well as maybe on some of your posters and stuff. So you don't have to go with this font. I'm just showing you that it's still very like delicate and modern looking. It's not like a super like Roman or Greek looking slab font. It has some pretty neat little characters like this diagonal crossbar on that lowercase e, and it's just one of my faves. So feel free to use whichever kind of font you want. It can also be an additional sans serif font, but why not mix it up? Throw a foot in there. You know what I mean? All right, so let's get back to your presentation. And this photography is really cool. I love the photos that you found. I think they're really nice. Um, this one, the contrast is lovely, really good contrast. I like the strange color casting in here, like the greens and golds. It's really pretty, and this color casting is super, super cool. I like this whole kind of warm feeling that's happening. This image right here, if you notice, it doesn't have any true rich blacks in here. It's a little bit flat. So I recommend taking this image if you're going to use it on something, pull it into Photoshop and bring up either your curves or your levels adjustment panels. And then in either of those panels, they'll have a white eyedropper little icon. You can click on that and then bring it over in here and click on the whitest part in the image, and then it will usually snap your contrast to the perfect amount. I don't recommend using the contrasts adjuster because when you use the contrast adjuster, it equally adjusts the lights and the dark the exact same amount, whichever way you slide that adjustment. Whereas when you use curves or levels, it picks separately what highlights and whites need to be increased and what shadows and blacks need to be deepened and create and made more rich. And so when it does that, the balance comes out so nicely. You don't wash out any highlights that shouldn't be there, and you don't lose a lot of details in your shadows. Unless that information was just not even available in the image file, then there's nothing you can do about it there. But yeah, so that's why I recommend using the white eyedropper in the curves or levels adjustment layers. They also, you'll notice in those panels, they have a black dropper too. So you could go that direction. You could take the black eyedropper and then just find like the place where it might have the darkest shadow and click on that. And it'll do the same thing as the white one. It'll snap it right where it looks pretty good. And you can go in and fine tune it if you need to, just by clicking in the histograms and stuff, okay? So I understand, you started the semester off not on land, but it's okay. It's cool. You're catching right up, and the amount of work that you did get done is great. Um, and I am a little bit kind of refreshed to hear that you also feel like you need to work on that logo mark a little bit. So I hope my feedback is helpful to kind of steer you in a more clear direction on that. And then if you need more help, just email me anytime. Okay, I'm happy to look at anything you've got. Great work so far. Thank you. All right, next up is German. Go, go. There we go. Okay. So here is our brainstorm. It's a great start to the brainstorm. When you are brainstorming like this, think about filling in every single space, like challenging yourself to not leave any negative space on this paper. You know what I mean? Just get it out and let your hand just go nuts. Just writing furiously, okay? Um, but I think that you got a great start here for sure. And yeah, really nice. I love the title too. I think it's a great, great, great band name. And then same goes for these mind maps. Not that you have to fill out an entire page with the mind map, but you can just keep digging even deeper, like kind of branching off even further on some of these. Just giving yourself that extra 5 to 10 minutes to open those neural pathways to like really dig deep into your creative mind. It's there and it can really bring some incredible results. All right. So try not to think of it as like this kind of annoying task. Think of it as like training your brain to At some point, when all those neural pathways are constantly being used, they're going to become permanent. And then delving into that creative muscle is just going to come super naturally, you know? Okay, so these are really wonderful song titles. All of the uh, spelling looks correct too, which is great. Great job. All right. And then, sorry, my voice cracked there. Same goes with these brain or mind maps for your band personas as well. I'm not saying you need to redo these. I'm just saying there's potential for further digging. Good looking persona. I like that you broke it up for me. Thank you so much. Great stuff. Good stuff. Really nice image too that you generated. It looks really good. And another great one too. Good image result. That's fantastic. Good. Just give yourself either an indent in this paragraph or an extra line space. Pick one of those options, not both. Okay. Let me just look here. Okay. Good. Excellent. Thank you. And here is our, yay, I love it. I love seeing a young Santana up there. Oh my gosh. So cool. Whoa, I've never seen this Jimi Hendrix poster before. That is so sick. I love it. Really nice. You have some really great stuff in here. This is one of my favorites. I just love these letters. Oh, so melty. It's so cool. And the artwork for Santana is just so intricate and incredible. It's my illustration goals. I don't know if I'll ever be that good, but it's just so amazing. I can just get lost in all of the artwork ever done for Santana. Like the lion image with that on the album that has this logo is just so cool. So yeah, you picked a lot of really great influences here. Really lovely. Really lovely. Good stuff. Good colors too. Great. All right, so here's our start of our logo. It's really nice. I really like this. Let me just go back one more time. I'm just looking at this here. Cool. Okay, great. All right. So I think that you picked a fantastic font. I'm just looking at your kerning here for a second and your alignment. It looks perfect. Really nice. Yeah, it's really good. The lines on the outside, I feel like they could be more snug, against it. What I love about these lines is that they really mimic the line work in the lettering. That's really beautiful, and I'm glad you caught that. They could mimic it even more. So there's some areas where the line is curving that it could get as thin as some of the parts in the letters. And right here, see that? So you could do that just by using well, I guess it depends on how you built this. You probably built it by outlining the path. But what you could do, I think, is you could turn that shape into a path, and then you could use your width tool to just come in and kind of shrink parts of these lines a little bit to get as thin as the parts, some of the parts in the letters. If you cannot do that, then just use your direct selection tool and go in and just move a couple little anchor points, to pull those in. But I feel like, this negative space is a little too much. Let me go back and look at this one. Yeah, see how this is more snug against the letters? While there is larger gaps in certain areas, I think the hugging of the letters is what almost creates like not a drop shadow, but yeah, I guess maybe some sort of like a drop shadow like that. So I'm trying to see if there's anywhere else in here that you can see that. Maybe almost here too, like how these shapes are just really hugging the letters. I think that will tighten up this logo even more and just really make it feel psychedelic, okay? Awesome font, really cool. Ooh, cool! I love it. Oh God, I really like that. Hmm. Okay, here's what I recommend. I think this is your primary logo because it's absolutely bonkers sick, and I love it. I'm going crazy over it. It's really nice illustration. That's gorgeous. Yes, I love it. And then this one, with the changes that I recommended, you can use it as a secondary logo for your t-shirt designs, and some of your merchandise, But yeah, this one, I mean, this logo made me gasp. So I think that should be the primary logo. Then over here, you picked some, sorry, my clicking buttons. You picked some really awesome fonts. And I think that the active grotesque will do the job of, all of your small paragraph text, whether it's on your lyric sheet or in your posters. So I think that'll work out just perfectly with that. Yeah. The color palette is also really neat. There is quite a jump. Oops, I'm sorry. Doop, doop. Hey, I'm skipping ahead. There's quite a jump from, stop. Okay, what is happening? Okay, let me try one more time. We've got this nice punchy green, which is, really helpful with psychedelic imagery. But then we have this kind of muted, almost salmony color. Let me just look at these posters real fast. So I'm wondering if you tone down your green to a more grassy green like this, or if you punch up uh, the the salmon. I'm looking for somewhere that's hotter. I guess kind of down here. It might actually be one of those colors. I think toning the green down a hair, making it a little darker. You can just use your eyedropper tool and sample any of these greens here, and then I think it just won't be so neon. This is very neon, and it'll still create some vibrating color when it's against the red, in your illustrations and stuff. Okay, excellent. Then, wow, these are so good. Look at that. That looks so good. This is awesome. Fantastic results. Really good generation. Really nice. Really nice. All the wardrobes are really good. I love these projections in the background. Oh my God, that's a cool detail. Really nice. Excellent. Super good. All right. I'm also really happy with how this all came out, and I think you chose fantastic fonts. And I'm happy to hear that you're also questionable, or you find that green a little questionable. I think making it grassy is going to fix that perfectly. And yeah, I think it's really, really wonderful work, real results there. Thank you so much. Next up is Shay. Let's go. There we go. All right, so here's our brainstorm list. In the future, I do recommend filling this whole page up with just stuff from your brain, just flooding out of your hand onto that paper. And just challenge yourself to just fill in that whole paper with stuff. Take as long as you need. I only think you would need another 10 minutes or so to do it. But when you get past this phase, this initial brain dump part that you've gotten down here, once you push yourself just past that minute of blockage, you literally will open new neural pathways in your brain that will just dive deeper into your creativity, and to the point where it will almost become like addictive to just want to get all that out. So I think it's really, really a fantastic exercise and will get you conceptually so far, so much further ahead than um, other designers in the field. So just go for it here. This is, I mean, it's such a short amount of time in the entire process, and it's can cut out so many decisions later on. Okay, great. Same here with your mind map. This is an absolutely great start. You just have the opportunity to branch off even further. Not that you have to fill up this entire page with mind mapping, but I mean, digging 4 to 5 levels deep is your, I mean, that just picture each of these branches, a new neural pathway in your brain that you're developing, and making that creative muscle even stronger. So, really nice list here. Everything looks, oh, nope. Be sure to not capitalize is. Everything else is perfect. Great titles too. Excellent. All right. And then here is our personas. Yeah, same thing. I mean, it's a really good start, but you can keep going, keep going. Usually you won't have to, make this information up on your own. You may have to do some research on an existing client with their existing, uh, customers, customer base, and you'll have to dig into, that kind of information. But the more you understand about that customer of your client, you become invaluable as a designer to them. You can even understand their customer better than they can sometimes, and then base your design decisions on how to attract those clients, those customers. Excellent little persona here. I like your layout a lot. I love that you broke everything up, and I can see things nicely with these bullet points. Plus, it's really good information. Good start. That's great. And same thing with the fan persona. Really nice and clear and full of good information. Great. And here is our mood board. All right. So I'm happy to see your band on here. It's not necessary to have the band you're on here. What I'd like to see more of is actual 70s imagery. I'm happy to see these fun color palettes and color combinations. But for example, this is not from the 60s, and I don't think that this is either. So what I'd like, I mean, I love seeing photos and stuff too that are of inspirational like elements, and even like you might love the color palette in here, that kind of stuff. Um, and the symbolism of whatever's in your photos. So that's welcome as well. But and I, like having these kind of like this is almost a mix of like a lava lamp but a universe of stars as well. Like it's really trippy, and I think that's cool. So you can have all these textures and things in there, but what I want you to really get or pick out some album covers that caught your attention or some concert posters, because the psychedelic genre has some of the richest design out of all of these genres to choose from. So get that real, authentic, from that time design on this mood board to draw inspiration from and to pull you back into making yours look as authentic as those. Okay? This turned out lovely. Really nice typography. Really beautiful. I remember the thumbnail being nice, but this is really gorgeous. Really gorgeous. So the I love it. It's so great. So what I'm wondering, if you want to experiment just a little bit with stroking electric in the marigold color and increasing the width of some of the lines in that stroke. You can do that by going into, instead of manually going in and adjusting it, which you can for sure, go in there maybe with your, well, what you would have to do would be to expand that shape where you just, wait, let me think about this. You need to basically turn your stroke into its own path. And then as long as it's a path that's not expanded, then you can use the width tool, and you can go in and manually pull on some places where you'd like to thicken up the width, you know? So that's one way. The other way would be to go into your strokes panel, and in there you can change the style of the stroke, and you'll see one in there that has like a tapered edge on both sides. And if you pick that, that one will then vary the weight automatically so that some places are thick and some places are thin. It kind of tapers in different places, and it's pretty cool. And then you can also create your own custom line style too. So if you work on one letter and you like the way it turned out, but you don't want to go and apply, have to do that all manually on all the other letters, then you can save that style of stroke in the strokes panel as a custom style. And then you can select the other letters and then just click on that button, that style itself, and it'll automatically apply it to all of those. So I said stroke the kind of magenta-ish letters in the marigold color, and then vice versa, stroke the marigold color in the magenta, and see if that sort of helps to break up then the color of this marigold with the marigold text. Because right now, the flower does get a little bit lost in this text. Not that it needs to stand out, but I think it might balance the logo a little bit more. It's a little heavier on top because of the pink, or, purpley magenta. And yeah, just try it. If you don't like the way that it looks, kind of like inverted like that, then it's your logo. You do whatever you want. It's already very strong the way it is right now. And you could also consider, instead of this light blue outline stroke, maybe bringing this orange around the edge. See what that looks like. If it's like obnoxious, then by all means, no. But if you like it, then that's great. And then the center of the marigold, I don't know if it's too matchy-matchy to put that pink in there, or even the darker stroke on there. I'm just not seeing, so yeah, this is like an earthy palette, and then we have all these other brighter colors. You know what I mean? So I'm wondering if you, well, just play with it. I don't know. But this logo has a lot of colors in it, and I think you can narrow them down, like cut a couple out of there. Okay. All right. So here, oh, well, if this is in your palette, then use it. Okay, great. Um, so I love this font pairing. I love it a lot. It's perfect. That's great. And the color palette is nice. I do see some colors missing that are in your logo that are not in the palette. So just add those to the palette or decide to reduce some of the colors in the logo, okay? You can have like 6 to 8 colors in your palette. It's fine with me. And you got some really great results in your generation here. This looks awesome. This one's really neat with this projection over them. That's so cool. I like that. That's neat. Really great. Good stuff. Really good. Something that I saw in, I think it was in Herman's uh, pictures. He had his 70s band like performing in a big festival, outdoor festival, and it was a really cool photo. So if you want to steal that, that's okay, because I think it's a pretty neat result. All right. All right. So I'm so happy that you had fun coming up with the band names. I know that is really fun. And I think that I agree with you that the font that you chose is just perfect for that 60s vibe. Awesome job there. And, I mentioned some ways to make that mood board work for you a little bit more and just keep you, um, you know, really focused on the authentic stuff. And I think that that'll make you feel even better about that mood board. All right. Great work. Thank you. Next up is Siki. So we have our brainstorms. Wonderful. Really nice. Really good digging there. Really great work. And our mind map. Lovely. I get very excited when I see at least 4 shoots of the mind map. So you have that here and here. Don't be afraid to do that in almost every single branch. Don't be afraid to go to 5. The more you dig, the more creative ideas you unleash and the more you train this muscle. So really great start. Thank you. Same with here. Look at this. Chow, 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 chow. Good stuff. Excellent. Great. All right, so is our song list. Really good. Great song names and everything spelled perfectly. Excellent work. Excellent persona. Really nice. Really nice. Great information. Same with here on the fan persona. Great info. Thank you. All right, and here's our mood board. I love this color palette that you brought in. A lot of really wonderful texture. Really, really great typography examples, like all this experimental and, gritty, dirty, grungy text. I like that a lot. I like all this like this dirty ink cartridges. Great work. Oops, sorry. Excellent. I think that's good. Really good. Ooh, really nice type. That's really pretty. Nice font. Yeah, turned out good. Real simple, easy. I'm just looking at your kerning because when we have just a completely text-based logo that is like large text, I just like to double check that that kerning is looking super clean. So what I recommend is if you squint your eyes, you'll see that I think the E and the I'm sorry, E and B could move a little bit closer together. So just nudge that over to the left. Here, I think we could get a little closer too. The rest looks good. And the E and the A look good together. The D and the E may be okay. I think the C could nudge to the left a little bit. And I think the Y could nudge closer to the A. The E definitely can be closer, but just watch this space doesn't close, okay? I mean, they might close. Just see how you like it. You know what I mean? I just don't see it closing anywhere else. Yeah, it wouldn't look right if any of the other letters touched, but you know, and then this spacing looks good. So just a little bit of nudgy nudge and just dial that kerning in tightly. So like I said, I just squint my eyes, and if there's any spots that look a little further apart than they should be, just close it up. I don't see any that look too close together, so you don't have to spread anything apart, just closing up some stuff, okay? Yeah, like this looks cool. And look over here, like this one, it looks even, it gives the illusion that this is even closer here, even though it's not. Well, is this word stroked? It almost looks like this is a bolder version. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, okay. So yeah, change one of them and then invert it so you don't have to do the work twice. Okay. Um, yeah, love the color palette. It is so beautiful. It actually looks like the colors that I have painted the interior of my house in. So you're speaking my language. I must be grunge. Just joking. And then this is beautiful texture, really lovely fines. It's awesome. I think it turned out great. So here's our band photos. These are great. Oh, this one's really cool. That's neat. This one, I don't know what the heck is going on. It's hard to tell. So on this image here, it's very flat. There's no true black or true white in this picture. So what I recommend when that happens is take that photo into Photoshop and open up either the curves or the levels adjustment layers. And then in there, you'll find a white eyedropper icon in either one of those. And you'll come in here and you'll click on the whitest part of the photo. It's going to be one of these blown out lights there. And you'll see that it instantly snaps the image to much better contrast. I don't recommend using the contrast slider or adjustment or the auto contrast because whenever you use that in Photoshop, it will automatically adjust the contrast of the darks and the lights or the whites and the blacks completely the same amount going either direction. And you don't always need it to be completely the same amount. So when you use level and curves, you'll see that maybe your whites will jump a little bit and your blacks may jump a lot, or vice versa, depending on how the image came out. So that gives you much more, not only rich images, but true to the information that's in the scene and that the camera has captured. So the other option in those two panels in the curves and levels is a black eyedropper tool. That might be even better in an image like this where the whites are actual kind of blowouts. So just find in their clothing, like zoom in, see if there's a part like under their arm or something, or like at the base of their shirt where it would be the darkest shadow on them. Even if they're wearing black clothes, there's still going to be a dark shadow. So find the darkest spot possible and click on that with the black eyedropper, and you'll see it does a similar thing, or almost the same thing. It'll make all your blacks and shadows gorgeously rich, while still keeping detail in those dark areas. And it'll make all your whites crispy and the whole image just instantly more three-dimensional. Okay, so no gray images. We need true black and true white. Okay, great. Okay, so I think that I couldn't tell by looking at your logo that you had these struggles. I think because you already simplified it so nicely. So let's go back and if you wanted it to be a little bit different than what it is, I mean, I think it's working nicely as it is. You could just increase the word beauty so that increase the scale after you fix your kerning, like I mentioned, increase the scale of just the word beauty so that it lines up with the edge of each D. That will add a little bit of a different element. The other thing is you could maybe place a line underneath it that's kind of like runny, or that looks like it's decaying in some way to add like a visual element without obstructing the typography. But I would have watched that the line was similar to some of the line weights in your text, whether it's the top line or the bottom, if you do increase the top line, just to complement that font. You could also make the ends of the line, similar to some of the beautiful ends of this awesome font. So that's something else, but you don't need it. Um, the third option would be, like you said, overlaying a texture over it. That might be all you need to make it feel more grunge. But I mean, there's a lot of grunge bands that didn't have any texture, that just had like, used impact, all caps, one word, like Soundgarden, something like that, So you don't really have to not overcomplicate the logo, because I don't think that it would be overcomplicated by adding those things, but it's fine to only have text that is a great font for a grunge logo. All right. I hope that's encouraging. Okay. Thank you so much. And next up is Violet. So here's Violet's brainstorming and mind mapping. So Violet, in the future, I do recommend taking even longer on this process because I don't see the brain dump here. Yeah. Um, Maybe you showed it to me during your first check-in, but since it's not included here, I just want you to encourage you, like when you do the initial brain dump and start making your lists and stuff, think about filling up that whole paper completely with words that are just pouring out of your brain through your hand and onto the paper. And then when you make your mind maps, um, think about, like, I love seeing where the branching goes out at least like 4 levels and stuff, and you're kind of connecting these things. That's really great. Um, and just think about, challenge yourself to make every single level branch out at least 4 branches. And so every time you do that, you're training these new neural pathways in your brain to just dig deeper into your creativity until it becomes something that just comes so naturally, because all of these pathways are made, that the process just gets faster and faster for you. And sometimes you just jump straight to that point. Okay. All right. Next up is the list. Looks good. And looks like everything's spelled correctly. Excellent work. Good mind mapping for the personas. One more time, like I said, you can always go deeper. It really helps you understand your target audience. Okay. Very cute. Really nice. So, yeah, this looks good. Really good. Good info. Hey, that's my name. Excellent. Really nice. Great photos. Fantastic mood board. I love everything about it. I'm so happy to see a majority of it is, from the 70s and 80s. I'm seeing some things that are not. So, like this one right here, get rid of this poster. None of these bands existed back then. Well, let me just make sure. Yeah, none of them. These are all 90s punk bands. that I've seen, every single one in person. Just joking. And then she's not, but she looks really cool. Um, but she's like a current lady. But everything else is good to go. Oh, Youngblood also not from the 70s. Great. I don't even think were the Misfits from the 70s. I think they came out in the 80s, but whatever. It's fine. Okay. And then this turned out great. I love it. I love the color. I love the ransom note style. I think it's wonderful. It's perfect. Great. I even like kind of cutting the whole thing out like this. That's really fun. Lots of layering. It's really great. Good font choices. So, okay, great. Yes. I think that you could have, instead of Albert New Medium, maybe consider like a typewriter font or some sort of a serif or slab font that is gritty, like a, dirty serif. So, because we have a lot of sans serifs that we're working with here, throw in a serif for some contrast. I think that would be good. And you might, when you do choose that serif, make sure that it has a bold option. If it has an italicized option, that's cool. I'm not sure if you're going to need it though, but yeah. Okay. And then, oh, these turned out great. These are great. You know what's cool about these two is like the motion in it. Those are really nice. I'm wondering if you'd be able to generate a few images of these girls that are similar, and then some that look like this, where it's like a live stage with, harsh lighting for the other two girls that's with no motion blur. Just so you have lots of options to work with. They're great. I love her hair. Really good. I agree. I think this turned out awesome. Like between your logo and your photos and just everything about it is just it just turned out so good. It like really is representative of the punk movement. I didn't even realize that you handmade all of the lettering in the logo. That's how clean, that's how perfect it is. So kudos. You did a really nice job. It turned out awesome. The textures are so good. Like everything is really great. It's really, really good. So great work there. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you in part 2.